Hi, my name's John Capobianco, and today we're going to be looking at something that I think is going to be very, very important in the years and days to come. A real big release, probably a killer app, probably something we've all been clamoring for. And this is a local, private language model server, more or less, that you can run on Windows or Mac, or as I've discovered, WSL2 Ubuntu. Now, we've seen Ollama and LLM Studio. This is called Microsoft Foundry Local. And we're going to do it right from scratch. We're going to do it together, right? Because I want to show you how remarkable this is. So we're just going to do a winget install Microsoft.FoundryLocal. Okay, and this is in my Windows, start run CMD. So it's going to go ahead and start the installation. While it does that in the background, what is it? It is an on-device AI inference solution that provides performance, privacy, customization, and cost benefits. Integrates with your workflows through a CLI, an SDK, and a REST API. Key features: on-device inference. Keep models local, reduce costs, keep your data on your device. Model customization, cost efficiency, seamless integration. Do I need an Azure subscription? No. Again, they hammer it again. It runs on your hardware. Existing infrastructure without cloud services. Do I need anything else special? It does support NPU acceleration, but you don't need it. I'm running it on an RTX 2060. And somewhere in here it does say that the 2000 series is supported. Now, is it done? Okay, 63%. How to get started? Well, you just saw me run the installer on Windows. It does work on Brew, on Bash, Brew for MacOS. And then you just off to the races. And I'm going to show you first, before we start running things, how to explore the models. All right, now the documentation is rich, as you might expect from Microsoft. How to tie this into LangChain, which I've already done. How to tie it into Web UI, audio transcripts, a REST server, APIs, Hugging Face, CLI, SDK, APIs, running it on Server 2025 for you data center folks who've been looking for this solution. All right. Now, the CLI reference we'll look at in a little bit. Let's hop back to the installer. Okay, we're already installed. Okay, so check this out. Foundry, what we're going to do is first start it. Server start, I think. Foundry service start. Okay, this is important. Now it's up and running, and I can use my local machine as a API endpoint over this, localhost port number. The other thing is I can just do Foundry model list. And let's take a look at all the models that we have here. 5.4, the various flavors of 5.3, Mistral, DeepSeek, Qwen, various flavors of Qwen, various flavors of 5.4, and GPT OSS, 20 billion. Right, now we have the sizes, DeepSeek here, 1.43, OSS 20B at almost 20 gig. It has the license and the model ID that we can call programmatically from other code. Or I can just say, I believe, if I get this right, Foundry model run 5.4. Do you mean... Yes, I do mean. So it's going to go ahead and pull 5.4. Maybe I could have pulled the smaller one, but 5.4 is not all that big. 8 gigs. Let's pull 5.3 mini. Let's just do a smaller one. 3.5-mini. So right on my Windows machine, I can unplug the NIC after this model's been pulled and air gap this box, and it has local AI inference available to it. Models we can fine tune, all kinds of great stuff. So while that pulls, let's go back to the documentation, and you've been seeing me start with the CLI. And I'm going to just ask it why the sky is blue. There's all kinds of great here questions about the models. You've seen me run list. We can filter. We can get info. We can pull models in advance, which is kind of neat. Load models into the service, which is kind of neat. And unload models when we're done our jobs. Pretty cool, right? So this is all CLI stuff. Now, what I think is really cool is they have REST server SDKs. So I jumped right to the Python, and I kind of wondered, why do I need OpenAI? And we're going to come back to that when we look at the code in a little bit. Why do I need OpenAI if I have this new Foundry, right? Well, what's really neat is they've just, this is how you would do it with OpenAI, right? But here's the request with Foundry Local. It's very cool that we can use the existing OpenAI code that we've already written and refactor it to use the manager, which calls the Foundry, which brings in the model locally. So this is a nice, easy refactor for anyone who's already using OpenAI.OpenAI. A little bit more in the Python SDK reference, how to install the SDK, how to get going locally, and some sample code towards here at the bottom, which was very helpful. And then how to integrate all this stuff, very cool. I do want to stop at the LangChain code, just to show you here. They kind of give you a translation application ready to go in JavaScript or in Python using LangChain. Right, so there's a LangChain right there. And you can see that we're using the chat OpenAI, right? You'll see this later in my code in a LangChain, right? Works with my code as well, which was a LangChain. There is an open source repository. Make sure you star this thing and take a look at the guts of it if you want. Everything you'd ever want to know about the code is all here open source. And I've made this local repository. I haven't pushed it on purpose because I want to show you the refactoring I've done. So I have a repository. How's this going? Okay, it's done. And what's your prompt? Why is the sky blue? Look how fast that is from 5.4. Amazing. Local, private. What if I wanted to do something a little more sensitive? Right? Does it know anything about me? There's a not acknowledged cutoff. Well, kind of neat. Well, anyway, it's off it goes. So there you go. So there's the inference. Okay, so that's the CLI, right? Now we have AI in our pocket on our laptop privately, ready to go. So then I refactored my RAG lab. All 4 labs, and specifically, let me start over. Starting at 5, a couple of things. If I go back, I was using a OpenAI embeddings model, and for the purposes of making this now completely 100% local, I've refactored that to use a Hugging Face embeddings model, which will get installed as part of the code. Right, so it is private. It's not using a cloud service. It's using the Hugging Face embeddings model. All right. Now, in terms of the LLM, I've added the Foundry Local and the chat OpenAI, and I've set up that manager and my model, and I've swapped out my LLM equals, and I've replaced it with this code. Right? That's all I had to do. So if I go to my refactoring here, in terms of requirements, how come it's not giving me the split screen? Let me commit all this stuff. No, hang on. I usually get a split screen of my previous code and my new code. Well, I'm really sorry. I wanted to show you how easy this was. That's all I really had to refactor. And this is going to be called Foundry LLM Hugging Face Embeddings. All right, so how does it all work, and is it any good? Let's give it a go. So I'm going to jump right to 5, and this is a PDF, and I'm going to run the retrieve code. And, you know, down here, we're going to use the conversational retrieval chain, showing that this integrates with LangChain. And all I had to swap out was the LLM and set up that manager, right? So I'm getting great answers here using that model. And you could see that it was pretty fast, right? No slower or faster than using a cloud model. So now if I use, let's switch to a different lab. Do I have a PDF handy? I should have had a PDF handy. Is there a PDF that I could grab somewhere? NAF, AC4, Austin, PDF. So it's just in AutoCon 4. Do they have a PDF here somewhere handy? About, maybe not. Maybe not. I should have had reference materials, framework architecture. Well, let's go ahead and just make a PDF out of this. We'll print that. To our desktop. And this is the NAF reference. Okay, so now let's go ahead and switch to the Lab 02 Streamlit Run PDF Buddy. Now again, in PDF Buddy, I swapped out, there's the local manager. Oh, I missed something in this code. It's not ready yet. Hang on, let me cancel that. I'll show you. That's an easy fix. I didn't set up this part when I was setting that up. So let's go back into here and put that in there and make sure we PDF Buddy patch. Paste that up there. Let's try it again. Let's try it again. And let's go back to the code. So, right, I set it up. I set up the manager, and I swapped out my LLM. So first I swapped out my embeddings model for local, and I swapped out my AI for local. Think of it that way. Foundry model Hugging Face. And if I visit this, we're going to upload a PDF, that NAF reference. And then this is all on the fly. Obviously I don't have any of this planned, so let's just see how it does. And can you help summarize and analyze the NAF document I uploaded as a beginner in network automation? So here we go. We're using the local embeddings model. I mean, okay, so almost immediate, right? Almost immediate. So now my obvious next question is, how does it do with, let's say, networking data? So let's get out of these labs and go into lab 3. And retrieve. And what kind of questions am I asking? I'm asking questions about interfaces using similarity search, but that's not using the LLM. Okay, down here, I do have a conversational tree. Okay, so help me understand my interfaces. That's the question we're going to get using this local LLM, using PyETS JSON. So Python 305 retrieve. So we're going to get the show interfaces. And we're going to embed that and do the vector store and do the rag. And here's the question at the end. Okay, so not super good. Let's try something else. Let's try it through Network Buddy. And that's the Streamlit app, right? Let me check Network Buddy first, make sure it's all solid. There's my manager, there's my embeddings. Okay, let's try it. Now this does have a flaw in that it's going to go run, what's it run? Oh no, okay, so I got an error here, OpenAI key. Hang on, okay, so that's a problem. I missed something here. LLM equals, where's the OpenAI reference? Oh, here we go. And where's client? Okay, so that's a chat completions create from the client. I'll have to refactor that. Okay, give me a second to see how I can do this. 1 minute. Okay, all good. I understood. I was relying a little bit more on the ChatGPT framework than I had thought. I've worked it out, and this is amazing. This is really amazing. It's about 200, call it 200 lines of code. Not even. And I just had to switch over to system and human messages. It really works great, and it's super fast, and it's totally free and totally local. Totally free, totally local. I would actually, take a step over, and usually I hedge myself and say, don't run this, against anything but your home lab. But this I would point against an enterprise lab, maybe. Okay, so I moved over to my Mac to record this because I could only use a very, very small model. And it worked. I mean, it wasn't so bad, but I wanted to try 5.4 mini. So here's the same thing. It took me a couple seconds to get this going over on my Mac, literally. And now I'm running that same Network Buddy. So what can you tell me about the IP interfaces? And you're going to see I'm running the 5.4 mini there. And I'm just scrolling up to show you I'm running 5.4 mini. And it's going to go ahead and run the show interfaces command, interface status command. And now it did that inference. It came up with that command on its own, locally, privately, as this mini small language model, about 4, I think I highlighted it later in the video how big it is. So now it takes a little bit of time here because it's the first time I ran this on my Mac. So I had to download the embeddings models and get the embeddings going in the background. That's sort of what's happening right now. I think I click over in a second. But yeah, you can see here it's going to start pulling the transformer information it needs to do the embeddings locally. But it ran the right command. And it's going to go ahead and do the rag process and give me a fairly decent answer that is a little concatenated. It's a little cut off. And I don't know if that's maybe my Streamlit front end could be. But it does answer, and all the answers are correct. All the inference is actually valid and accurate. So we'll just give it a second here for me to show you here. And this is on a Mac. I did get inference working locally on my Windows machine with, there we go. So there's the answer. So we just have to be a little patient with this locally, but we do get some decent analysis of those 8 interfaces and the source information. So I don't know what else to say. It works on Mac, Windows, WSL, Linux, WSL, and the other thing is it's an easy replacement for ChatGPT specifically. Anyone who's worried about privacy, security, local, offline modality for enterprise or personal reasons, this looks like it could be the way to go. I love Ollama. It has a much look and feel like Ollama, but it's a Microsoft product. And I'm sure that this could be integrated into enterprise, maybe with a little less friction than something like Ollama or LLM Studio. So just get your hands on it. AI has never, quite literally, been easier or free or more democratic or more private or secure. So you don't have any excuses anymore. All right, thank you.